Great to have you with us, Rob. Just looking back there, it's amazing to see all those highs and lows crammed into such a short space of time. Can you possibly have imagined anything like that at the beginning of the year?
No, Nick, thanks for having me.
Not at all.
Not at all, really. Like, from what happened in such a short period of time has been crazy. Really, a real roller coaster of a ride, and it's all part of the sport, isn't it? And we all love it so much, but it has been a crazy year.
And just those opening shots there, I said, slightly torturing you with the Westover pictures from the Derby. Do you give that day much thought as the season has progressed? Do you keep thinking about what might have been, or do you just have to get it out of your head?
I'd say I'm quite lucky with being able to, look at things, digest it, work out what you might have wanted to change if you could have changed anything, and then moving forwards, which is most important. And I'd like to think I'm quite lucky, and I realise that you've got to move forwards. And I actually haven't watched the replay that many times because you just torture yourself, and watching it there, then it's difficult to watch, but it's just one of those things.
Would you have done anything different?
I don't think so. No is the answer. Just on the day, my horse, Westover, wasn't quick enough to go through the gap that was in front of me, and we all know that Epsom's a very unique track, and you need the right horse to be able to handle the undulations and the hill, and just on the day, it didn't work out for him.
And the winner was very impressive as well, wasn't he? Almost gearing down. So I guess at least you can console yourself in the fact that nobody was saying, "Oh my word, you should have won the race."
Yeah, absolutely. And the winner on the day had a textbook Epsom ride almost. Midfield, one off the rail with an option to have space when you wanted it, and beautifully ridden by Richard Kingscote. And the cards that I always dealt is I was on the rail, and when you are on the rail at Epsom in such a tough race, on a horse that not necessarily has an instant turn of foot but has a great deal of stamina, it was always going to be something that it was going to be difficult to overcome. And he ran a heroic race, and is obviously a hugely talented horse.
The story wound on from Westover because you lost the ride, the Irish Derby. He went on to win the Irish Derby under Colin Keane very impressively. It wasn't so happy a story in the King George, but Rafe Beckett, your boss, or one of your bosses, said to me yesterday the horse is in fantastic form, and he seemed very happy going into next weekend. He's also let us know for the last 2 or 3 weeks that it wasn't definitive who would ride the horse next Sunday in the Arc. So do you know whether you're going to ride him or not, or is Colin Keane going to ride him?
Yeah, so it was confirmed yesterday evening that I'm going to ride him in the Arc, which is hugely exciting, for myself, and just really looking forward to getting back on him. He's in great form. I've ridden him in his last 4 pieces of work, and he seems good. He's done well from that break, because he had quite a busy, he was lightly raced at 2, and then had quite a busy 3-year-old campaign, obviously gearing up for the Derby. Mm-hmm. Winning his trial at Sandown on his first start as a 3-year-old was, a big performance, and he wasn't cherry ripe on the day, so he was still, developing as a 3-year-old colt, and he ran. He's a very generous horse, and he gives you everything, which is what's so nice about him and so nice to ride. And he put a lot into his Epsom run, and Epsom is what it is, a long way to the start, a lot going on, takes a lot out of a horse, and then a trip to Ireland, he was explosive and, destroyed the field. but again put a lot into his run. You know, he hits the line strong in every race he runs in. You know, Ascot was tough for him. Again, he put everything into his run, but he's an exuberant horse, and Ascot 1.5 is a tough, you know, it's a tough start, and it's a tough track for a horse like him. It's a downhill 2.5 furlongs into the bend in a relatively small field. So no, he's done really well from the break, which I think was the right thing to do for the horse, and target him for Paris.
But clearly we know what the news line is going to be. Rob Hornby is back on Westover. How satisfying does that feel?
Yeah, it's hugely satisfying for myself. You know, it's another chapter 2 of what's been a crazy year, kind of. You know, and another opportunity that I've been given, you know, kindly by Judman and Barry Marr and Simon Mockridge and the whole team and Rafe to have, you know, the belief and faith that he wants me to ride him. And
the nice thing for us about talking to Rafe Beckett is that he's a pretty open book. He doesn't hide his feelings, and it's been quite obvious that he's really been singing your praises, one, and also been backing you as the right person to ride this horse. Do you feel that's because of this horse's, not idiosyncrasies, but his characteristics in particular, they need a bit of knowing?
Yeah, I think so. Like I say, he's a generous horse and he gives you everything, and you know, I probably know him as well as anyone. There's a few people that ride him at home. Cardoso would be his main rider at home, who knows him just as well as I probably do, and you know, I think it's important for a horse like him who is obviously very talented and good, but just does take a bit of knowing, not taking anything away. Like Colin Keane did a fantastic job in Ireland and did nothing, you know, no one's done anything wrong. It's just you know, I just look at it as again a great opportunity for myself to be able to ride him again.
And a great opportunity it is for sure. I said it's been a season where the highs have massively outweighed the lows. I mean, that double at the July Festival seemed to encapsulate it all. Prosperous Voyage of filly, you wouldn't have ridden because Mark Chan has Frankie ride his horses, and Frankie had to ride in Spiral, so you get on Prosperous Voyage, ironically turn over the long odds on favourite, then you win on Alcohol Free, a ride that was a Sheen Murphy's, but he's on the sideline. So it's extraordinary how all these things have come together. Why do you think this season in particular it's all slotted into place?
Yeah, it sounds like I'm extremely lucky, really, how it's all panned out. And I don't know, in terms of like this season, you know, I think it's been building up over a few years, really. With obviously, I've had a great association with Andrew Balding, being there as an apprentice when I was 16, so, you know, well over 10 years ago, and then the relationship I've built up with Rafe Beckett over the past kind of 4 years, which has blossomed and you know, become a huge part of my life now. And you know, Prosperous Voyage was a bit of a bridesmaid behind in Spiral all throughout her career, really, and she deserved a Group 1 success. Just being narrowly defeated in 1,000 Guineas as well, which was another story, slight disappointment, but a hugely, you know, big run, and gave us great encouragement that she's going to be an exciting horse this year. And yeah, then, you know, being able to, Frankie had his other commitments, and I was able to ride her, and no, I mean, it was just a fantastic day and a crazy 24 hours.
And Prosperous Voyage, am I right, she goes to the Sun Chariot next Saturday?
Yes, so she's going to the Sun Chariot. You know, she really enjoys both Newmarkets, July Course and Rolling Mile, but the straight track, I think, is key to her. She seems to, you know, act best on those.
Could be a decent weekend for you next weekend, couldn't it?
It could be, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully we can have some more success. But no, she's in fantastic form. I rode her this week. You know, she's not ran for a little while, but she's in ripping order.
And that win in the July Cup for Andrew Balding, getting a Group 1 for him on alcohol-free, a filly that clearly had meant so much to the whole stable in the Jeff Smith Silks. The significance of that can't have been lost on you, 10 years on from when you first went into that hostel at Kingsclear.
No, hugely, satisfying, rewarding for myself, to have an associate, to be lucky enough to have been able to go to Andrew Balding's as an apprentice is one thing, and then to be able to stay at Andrew Balding's for so long and have such a good relationship, not with Andrew but the whole family and the whole team at Kingsclear. You know yourself, it's a very special place, and I was very lucky to come through my apprenticeship the whole way through and still be able to ride for Andrew. And I had all my early big successes from listed races, from heritage handicaps, Group 3s, and opportunities to ride in Group 1s. Have all started with Andrew Balding and the Balding family, and to go and have the opportunity at the start of the year to ride alcohol-free was hugely exciting, and an opportunity that I was given, and it kind of wasn't really working. I actually went to Sandown at the start of the year, odds on, and got beat, and we were kind of thinking, well, perhaps she isn't what she was the previous year, but we kept going, and a huge team back home who had her in great shape and great order, and to go and win a July Cup for Andrew, for Jeff Smith, it's very significant, and for a young jockey and at this stage of my career was it's very important.
So tell me about going to Kingsclear. You were very young when you went there. Had it been a long premeditated plan that's what you would do? As soon as you were old enough, you'd be away. Yeah,
it wasn't necessarily that. It was when I was younger, I was more into my jump racing, and I was based in home is Shropshire for me. So there's a lot of jump yards around there, and point-to-pointing yards. So I went to work for Henry Daly as my first job at 16. I was going there in my school holidays, and we kind of started to realise I'm staying quite small. And the more I was getting into the racing, I wasn't from a racing background but a horse background. So the more I learnt about it, I realised I'm very small. I'm going to stay small, and big national hunt horses, they were just running off for me every morning, and then you realise flat racing's in the summer, far less injuries, quite a lot of prize money and opportunities for you. So started to steer towards wanting to go on the flat, and Henry also realised that as well, and was fantastic to me. He was a good mentor at an early stage of my life and my career. And I started to see, the likes of William Buick and David Probert and the many others that came through, from Ian Balding through to what Andrew is doing now, Andrew and Annalisa are doing now, and went down there as a 16-year-old, got dropped off by my parents, and it was almost like going from home, really. You got
Were you nervous?
Yeah, like massively. First time I properly left home, we got moved into the hostel, which is a fantastic place to be. You get catered for, have your own room, and you're living with a bunch of 12 other lads similar ages wanting to do the same thing. So it's at a younger level, it's almost like a bit of a university vibe, as in everyone living together, eating together, get stuck in, and we had a lot of fun at a young age.
Yeah, it's fair to say you had quite a talented class as well, didn't you? So who turned up the same time as you?
Yeah, so I was down there, and a month later, Kieran Schumacher turned up.
Yeah, he can ride.
He can ride a bit, and then 2 months later, Oisin Murphy drops his bags at the door, and
whatever happened to him?
Yeah, he did all right as well. So no, it was a fantastic kind of 3 years. We all had together growing up quite fast, and going through our apprenticeships together, albeit some faster than others. But no, it's fantastic to see that we're all out there now competing, and competing at the highest level, which is fantastic.
Obviously, a lot of people, well, a lot of you will now have managed to log on to watch Horsepower on Amazon Prime, and obviously Oisin Murphy takes a pretty significant role in it. What was he like when he dropped his bags down there at 16?
Well, he's not changed very much, that's for sure. No, like straight away, he was obviously a very confident young Irishman, but also very talented and very intelligent. And you know, I've learnt a great deal off Oisin throughout the years. Obviously, being a very close friend of mine, and you know, also, you know, I always think with horses, if you've got a good batch of early types, it kind of brings on the lesser ones that are slightly more backward, and I was probably one of those ones that was a bit more green and needed to catch up a little bit, and Oisin is definitely, and Kieran Schumacher and a lot of the lads that were there at the time, they keep you sharp and they keep you wanting to improve and improve quickly and do the best you could do. So
they were a bit more precocious than you were?
Yeah, perhaps. So I had to just, you know, you've got to keep your wits about you, and you know, Oisin straight away he jumped onto the scene, but you know, I'll never forget. I can remember him declarations. I think entries came out for Doncaster's first meeting, and there's an apprentice race, you know, quite a big field, and I was next door room to him, and you know, he's just going through, started at the top of the entries, and every trainer he's just ringing up, "Hi, I'm Oisin Murphy, I've been at Ballydoyle for the last 6 weeks, just come to England, can I ride your horse?" And I was just thinking, what, like, is this what you have to do? So next thing, I started trying to do it and didn't quite have the Ballydoyle background. And
were you not ringing up and saying, "Hi, I'm Rob Hornby, I've been at Henry Daly's for 6 weeks"?
Well, yeah, just especially when now I've just had Oisin Murphy on the phone, I was thinking, oh, I'm a bit behind here. But you know, that's the kind of things that he was doing, and the vision that he had, and it makes you realise, oh, this is what I need to be doing. Yeah. And you know, to be able to get these rides, you've got to go out and find them at that stage of your career.
Did you feel quite comfortable on the horses at that point? Did you always feel like you had an affinity for it, that this is what you should be doing? Did that come quickly?
Yeah, and I think that's always been something I've been lucky with, is naturally being able to bond with a horse quite quickly, and you know, especially at that early stage, you know, apprentices tend to get the worse of rides at home, or the trickier horses, and you know, I always you know, had a lot of self-confidence that once I'm on the back of a horse, I could get to know it quite quickly and hopefully get the best out of that horse on the day, or on that morning. So, you know, confidence on my riding ability was always there. It was just the piecing it all together, and you know, my racing. I was a slow burner as an apprentice, but I was lucky enough to be in the best place for that, being at Balding's Academy, which is what it's known as now, because I was given opportunities when I was ready for them, and I wasn't, you know, nothing was overfaced. I had to work hard and improve. You know, I wasn't as sharp as the rest of the boys. I wasn't as good on the racetrack at that stage as the rest of the lads that were around me. So it pushed you to improve as quickly as you can. And we had jockey coaches, and John Reid was great with me. But you know, in terms of being with Andrew Balding and the opportunities that I had, it was only when I was ready for them. What
did somebody like John Reid teach you? What can an older experienced jockey teach somebody coming through the ranks?
I mean, obviously there's you know, your basics of pushing a horse, using your stick in the right way and the correct way, which, you know, you need to learn that, but also you need to be out on the racetrack and doing it as well, because it's a completely different atmosphere. Things happen very quickly. You know, so John was fantastic with that, and going through replays, you can always ring him on the way home and think, these things I could have done better, and also, you know, race tactics and having your horse in the right place at the right time. But John was really good with me in basically getting your head around you've got to work very hard at this career, and things aren't going to happen immediately, and it is a long career if you do it, if you set yourself up right at an early stage. And
so you build it slowly and steadily.
I think so, and I was always aware that that was going to be the case. But one thing I was able to get my head around quite quickly is, even if you're lucky enough to ride at 20%, 80% of the time you're losing. You know, so you're in a sport which is, a lot of the time you're coming home not winning. Mm-hmm. Now I'm perhaps riding at 12%. So if you don't get your head around not the disappointments, but not winning, but getting the best out of your horse on the day for your owners and your trainer, I think it makes your life a lot easier, because you know the good days are fantastic, but they're quite rare. You know, so it's all about building your business, I think, of your people you ride for, the clients, and trying to keep everyone happy. Whether your horse finishes fourth, that might be the best that the horse could achieve on the day, and everyone's delighted, the owners are happy, and there's a work in progress. So John was very good with me to realise that, and to just, you know, build your contacts, keep building your contacts, and try and keep as many people happy as you can.
So with that in mind, when you've got a week like this, which is potentially the biggest week of your career, you're riding a horse who is fancied in the Arc. If you've just joined us, Rob Hornby will be riding Westover in the Arc next weekend, and you ride Prosperous Voyage, your Group 1 winner in the Sun Chariot. Is the mentality you've just described important to keeping you nice and level as the week progresses, that you're not going to get too taut and tense and uptight?
Yeah, I'd say so. You know, but as all young jockeys, and I say young jockey, I'm not that young now, but I feel like a lot is my career's stepped up to that next level in the last kind of 4 or 5 years of getting opportunities in Group 1s and Classics. So, you know, they're huge days. They're very important for a rider's career, and you've got to make sure that you tick every box going into it, and you're fully prepared and ready for the opportunity and the day. But at the end of the day, it's a horse race, and you know, you'd hate to complicate things too much, and they're both horses that I know very well. And the important thing is you feel now that you belong at that level. You're not awestruck by the idea of riding in a Derby or riding in an Arc or riding in a July Cup. I do. You know, I'm got self-confidence to think that this is where I should be and want to be competing. Obviously, I don't have any experience riding in an Arc. I've ridden around Longchamp once, but you know, it's I'm confident that I'm well able to, you know, do as good as the next person.
And I think an awful lot of people share that confidence. For the moment, Rob, thank you very much.